Hello and welcome to CollegiateR6. Today we have a great game coming up for you today. We have a best of three between the University of South Florida and the University of Minnesota. I'm joined by the boy Al. It's been a while since we worked together, but it's great to be back with you.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing game today. We have some pretty standard initial maps of Cafe and Villa, but I very much hope that we go to our third map, which will be the decider on Theme Park. So, an
Hmm.
interesting map to see these two teams on. We don't get to see it nearly enough, but our first game will be on Cafe, a very stock standard match. I think it's just going to come down to how well these teams have counter-strategied each other, how much they've prepared, how many VODs have they reviewed, and how is their momentum coming into this series.
Mm. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. And I agree with your sentiment. I really want to see a theme park because it's one of those maps that even like Oregon just has been it's been the dark child of the competitive map pool. Whereas Oregon, it's essentially replaced Villa as one of the top three maps for teams in T3 at least, and moving forward. But Nomad going to be the first ban. My thoughts immediately are the defenders USF. They're immediately going to want to be able to roam around freely. So getting rid of that flank watch is huge.
Yeah, and I think that one of the big things that might prompt from their opponents is a Valkyrie ban on the opposing side. Thatcher
Mm,
being banned out. No surprises there. He's very powerful, allowing you to speed up the tempo of your attacks. And the king of runouts, the queen of runouts, sorry, of Valkyrie is a very common ban on this map. And Nomad allows you to really open up more roaming potential as there are very limited ways of reclaiming control of the second and third floor. Maestro being taken out. We do see Echo being banned, but as he is disabled, one of those
mm.
more bulletproof gadgets, as well as gaining that information, a solid ban out, and it's going to make the attack a lot more easy moving on to these later parts.
Yeah, I think it's something we notice as we see Belusi, unsurprisingly, getting banned away. One of the key bans that started to come out into the fray recently. But like you said, Echo being in that quarantine phase with this bug that's come out, banning Maestro has become a much stronger ban than it did before, because before you'd ban Echo or you'd ban Maestro, and then the defenders would just pick another one. So at the end of the day, you don't, you choose which one would you rather not face, and 9 times out of 10, it would be the Echo. But taking the Maestro means that we're seeing a lot more post-plant scenarios coming out from the attackers, and we're going to see something quite surprising, actually. We're going to see a mirror on the board, Al, and I know you know the map bands and how comp rules work and everything, so I know you know how rare a mirror coming out is.
Yeah, Mira is an operator that has been pretty much permanently banned. And one of the aspects that I think is very interesting about an operator being permanently banned is uh, it takes a lot of skill to play
Defenders,
an
protect your
operator
bombs
like
from being
Mira. You
defused by
have to
attackers.
strat around her black mirrors, and if you don't, you're pretty much wasting an operator pick by going with her. And that's one of the things that we see a lot of teams do. They don't know how to play around her because she's always banned.
Attackers
And
have discovered
we
the
do see
location of a
her
bomb.
being six picked away. A lot of teams, they're not prepared to play with her. They're not prepared to deal with her. And it's a marker of a very good team to be able to flex around that. That being said, we'll return to this third floor with the information
10
denial
seconds left.
continued. A solid pick up to be sure. And with Wamai still being on the board,
5 seconds
yes,
remaining.
you've taken out the Malusi, which is very oppressive in this piano
Attackers are
position
moving
as
to
well
defuse the
as
bomb.
halting your advances. But you're trading that over for pretty much an invulnerable shield with the amount of ADSs and Wamai magnets that you can stack over there. It's going to be still a difficult attack to manage. And we do see that Valkyrie coming out for the defense as well.
Yeah, the only thing I think looking at this I'd rather bring is maybe bring a castle into the mix, so you see you can hold by that cigar shop area, make it even harder for the attackers to take it. But the round is going to start off. We are going to see a couple of unorthodox positions. We are going to see Mute playing over by this freezer, something we don't typically see, maybe playing for that cocktail window, which you could see Minnesota obvious Ying on that cocktail window, looking for something that they can do to catch the defense off guard, as typically
Bomb located by
these side
attackers.
pushes are more pocket strats than the main meta, but shots are ringing out on both sides. Nobody actually going for any kills so far, but the push will come through in reading, and Valkyrie is just going to be sitting pretty as Ralph starts opening up the floor looking for this first kill.
Yeah, and one of the big things that I would like to note is that you don't have a lot of bulletproof gadgets for defenders. Banning out both that Melusi as well as the Maestro means that you don't have to bring both an Ashe and a Zofia. What you can do is you can free that up. You don't have to have frag grenades on every operator, thus the buck being utilized for that quicker tempo, as well as the ability to bring more smoke operators like the Ying as well as the Ace. USF, they're going to have to really worry about the smoke grenade, but one of the great things that they do have in their favor is the factor that Super 2 Turn is still alive on the flank, and Daddy Vader finding the first kill is going to give them a massive advantage as new. Minnesota, with just a minute remaining on the clock, they're going to have to clear out this roamer as well as make and execute with the man disadvantage and time on the side of their opponents.
Mm. Yeah, taking away that Ashe is absolutely huge. Sometimes is able to find that trade, getting that Daddy Vader off the board, getting the dock as the storm starts to come out from Ying. You can hear the plan is going to be taking place. Ralph is able to find one. Spenner able to find one of his own. This might open that freezer. Gonna have to try and shut things down. Tags up the Ying, but doesn't find the kill. The C4 will follow, and it just about gets it. Spenner getting that quick trade as the plant will finally go down thanks to some dime. Super Titan is now on his own, pushing up these red stairs in this post plan. The pre-placed C4 just not really working out, and now the odds are stacked against him as he looks to push, checking every corner as he should. The players, they're just going to lock down. They're going to hide. They're going to wait. They're just going to say, I'll take a nice sip of your drink, you know, I'll do the same as well because we're just going to wait. We're just going to let you come to us. The ADS, though, catching that frag grenade, which probably could have found that kill on the Superton if properly. But Ralph will find that final kill, and that will be the first round of Sota.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that you can see coming out from the comp of the attackers of Minnesota is that they have the ability to just blitz onto sight. Ace, he is the hard breacher, but he also is a 2-speed with the AK-12, arguably one of the best guns in the game.
Hmm.
Ying as well, and the Iana and Buck, all very mobile operators, nothing too sluggish, allowing them to just lightning bolt their way onto sight. And while Florida were able to get an initial good position, their roamers weren't in position to really find those rotations quick enough and find impact on the round. And effectively, you had an isolated 4v4 on that third floor, which allowed Minnesota to exploit their advantages of their
Attackers need to
composition and
locate and defuse
ignore
as many
some of the
bombs as they
downsides
can.
of losing that Ashe earlier on. We see Florida now bringing out the mirror, and I think this is going to be a crucial aspect in not only slowing down that opportunity for a rush, but also stemming some of the issues in the organization and the ability to deny the position that Minnesota went to.
Okay, the main thing that stands out to me, though, looking at this, if you are, you know, I'm going to assume you're correct, because let's be honest, down 9 times and then you hit the nail on the head, but say that we are seeing this mirror coming out because as a reactionary kind of thing of, okay, they took control, we didn't have much information, let's do this. Realistically, though, that's going to be pushed out very quickly if they're expecting the same push. Last time, that mirror window can be taken out from 2 windows. Both cocktail windows can be taken out from both of them. So if you're playing that mirror and you're saying, okay, we'll bring something different, we'll try this, and that's the reason, I don't think that's the right play. We're not seeing that Valkyrie on board, but, you know, Jaeger Wamai, I'm not surprised that they are staying around, and Minnesota do seem to be going for more of a typical pay.
Yeah, I do have to agree. I have to agree with you with that. One of the things that does plague teams is, yes, you have this very powerful operator of Mira on the table.
Attackers have located the bomb.
Correctly, and the placements coming out from Miras are a bit questionable. I don't know exactly how they're going to set them up. It'll be crucial to see how they reallocate manpower with no longer the Valkyrie for that roam presence. They're, I believe, from the X-ray view, they're all going to be stacked up onto that third floor, and it's going to be a much more linear Alamo style most of those players anchoring down those positions, trying to deny as much control of that third floor from their opponents. But you do see the buff on the
Bomb
board.
located
He's
by
going to be
attackers.
crucial in flushing these positions out, forcing your opponents to really shift themselves into positions. And with a game that's able to force them out, really allow you to open up these pushes, it's still going to be a massive undertaking for them to stay alive, but them still having control of the third, them still not losing with a minute and 10 seconds. It's just going to come down to frags.
Yes, but that Evader getting down will be in a position where he can get himself up as that dog, but the bug knows exactly where he is. That's a stim wasted off the clock already. That's not really something these defenders will really want to have. You know, a minute left on the clock, you've already taken damage, you've lost a stim, which is going to be a key part. Make that 2 now, as he's just stimmed himself again. You just lost a key part. Right now, you still have an Ash in the wall, you still have an Ace with him, a buck below. Minnesota, they're positioning themselves really good. Hey, but Tilt can be here, looking to put the pressure. Oh no, Ralph walking up as Skipper's able to find a kill as well. Super 210 will get a free frag, but 2 versus 1 now. That's not great. That's not the position you want to be in, but Swiss Knife, he's there to get that kill, get that trade, and even it up with 3v3.
Yeah, and now you see the impact of them running down the clock. 20 seconds remaining on the board for Minnesota to make this execute. And while they do have themselves into an equal man advantage, they're going to run into that 6th defender of time.
Yes, and, you know, I remember why you say that. A good friend of mine, Delta Maker, constantly says that Super 210 will find a kill onto Spenner, and now it's all down to Skipper. And the push comes out, and Jay gets that kill, and so Florida, they're able to even it out. 1 round for both the attackers and defenders. But realistically, Al, you know me, you know how I see rounds. As an attacker, pick up 2 rounds. That's your bare minimum done. Minnesota, it's round 3 and they're already halfway there.
Yeah. Cafe is a map that does tend to be the similar stock standard 4-2 or a 3-3 split, with the Echo being disabled and with more of your attacking varieties starting to bring about, with more people banning the Wamai, with the Ace and Ying rising in popularity. You do see a bit more favor going towards the attackers. One thing that I do want to highlight for the attackers is their lack of tempo in the round. They did not have anything to worry about on the first and
Attackers
second
need to
floor,
locate and defuse
and
bombs.
you're not running a very heavy information denial composition for the defender. You only have a mute. You don't have the extra Mozzie to additionally stall out your opponent from gaining information. They should have been able to, by process of elimination, rule out the fact that there's no roamers on the board and really step up that tempo with maybe a minute and a half or 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Instead, we barely saw them take control of the map with a minute remaining on the clock, and by the time they made their execute, while they were able to find some frags and they were able to find a decent footing,
5
they
seconds
left
left
it too
before
late, and
insertion.
the 20-second final chaotic meta ensued,
Attackers must locate
with
and
it
defuse a
ultimately
bomb.
favoring the defenders. Minnesota, they have the fragment potential, they have the micro play, they just need to step up the tempo in that macro play to shore up some of those weaknesses in those early rounds.
Yeah, and they'll be looking to do that on this bottom floor. Now, we're not seeing a bakery hold, we're seeing pretty much more of a bunker setup with a player over towards this red stairs. But it sounds like Minnesota have brought exactly what they need to help try and deal with it. They've got that Yana, the Gemini can go in, the smoke will follow, and Jay will find the Ying, getting downed as well, but finding the kill. That is usually the least trade. Now, here with competitive rules set, they don't even know that they've downed him. All they know is he's got away. The only question is, can South Florida get anyone over to him? As this Maverick looking to try and open the prep area, we'll have to find this Mute Jammer, and we'll do it without a problem. The Mute just gonna let him have it and say, yeah, you can have this for now. Super 2-turn, though, will be the only retribution Jay might have, but the drone's coming out on Spenner, sees the trail of blood in the light. Okay, I think they're dead. Skipper, do you want a free kill going to get him?
Yeah, and that's gonna be a good sign coming over for Minnesota as we see a bit of a band wave coming out. But that's one thing that you did allude to. Super 2 turn is still on the roam, and with that vigil, he's going to be a thorn in the side of their opponent. Nomad being banned, no gridlock being picked up, they're going to have to get their flank drones in position and crucially allocate manpower to watching those. Sir Pivington being dead is going
Bomb
to
has
be
been
able to do
located.
that, but if they don't do their due diligence, if they don't allocate that manpower correctly, you could see a beautiful flank coming in from that South Korean operator and really making that K1A sing as once again we see the defenders working down the time. Minnesota with only a minute remaining on the clock. Anything that can go wrong in this short amount of time could really doom their push and really stall out the time to where Florida can
Attackers have
just hang
located a
on for
bomb.
dear life.
Yeah, but Skipper's able to find a quick kill onto Swiss Knife, taking away the 1Y and those magnets. But as we approach the last 45 seconds of the round, those magnets are going to be we're going to be fewer and far between coming in. But the push is coming in from Prep Ralph, unable to find a kill onto Daddy Vader, will fall for his sins, but Skipper's there to get the refrag. It's a 2v3 now, and only one of them is on site. Super 2-turn. He's distracting Spenner because someone has to hold him, someone has to watch the angle.
Attackers are
But Tilt
activating the bomb
is
diffuser.
going to have to stop this plank going down as the Vigil gets taken away. The C4 goes out but doesn't find anyone. Tilt runs right into Spenner. And another kill for the Yana coming out. The bottom floor, there's a theme I'm seeing coming out from Minnesota. They are getting there. They know what they want to achieve. They know what they want to accomplish. But they just stall. They do it with the minimum time needed, minimum expenditure. Like they're just kind of walking in after getting Florida to kind of come to them, kind of annoying them. They come looking for kills. Then Minnesota pick them off. And then by that point, they have that numbers advantage. They could just start walking into sight.
Yeah, this is a common aspect that we see from a lot of T3 teams. Their IGL and their macro play isn't quite up there. They make the right decisions, and that's something that I do agree with. Their play style, they're making the right calls, but it's coming at an expensive time. Like you were saying,
Defenders,
they're not
protect your
making those
bombs from being
calls
defused
quick
by
enough, and they're
attackers.
leaving these rounds far too close for where they should be. An aspect that we see of teams that maybe rush these decisions is they wouldn't have left Spenner on the flank watch. They wouldn't have had someone to deal with Super 2 turn coming down from the roam. They recognize, hey, it's really late into the round. There's probably nobody there, and they overlook it. Minnesota, they're not doing that. They're not making these blatant mistakes, but it also is costing time. That's something that Florida can very easily
10 seconds
exploit.
remaining.
And I think that if they really utilize these smokes better,
5 seconds
now
left
that
before
Jay
insertion.
is bringing that second SAS operator, that could be a massive
Attackers
issue.
locate
Having
and
those
defuse the
late
bomb.
round denial of area from that smoke could really thwart their opponents, where in the previous rounds, yes, you have maybe 30 seconds remaining on the clock to make your execute, but you can just walk in and find the frags. If you have a smoke on the board, you can throw one of those toxic baids into prep, and there you go. That's another 10 seconds remaining on the board that you've pretty much denied. And with Minnesota not being the team that would necessarily force the defenders to burn those pieces of utility early into the round, it could be a great adaptation for the defenders to bring out that opportunity.
That it will be. We are seeing a full-on roam clear coming out from Minnesota as they have to return to that bottom floor site. Probably expecting Florida to really have kind of gotten on to what the plan is, what the game plan is, what they want to achieve. So they're going for this run. They're going to play it differently, which is not just the same thing constantly over and over. That's what I would really like to see, especially in uni leagues, such as teams recognizing that if you do one thing, it's probably going to get expected for the next time. And Swiss Knife, one, that roam will be pulled back just that little bit. He still has those magnets, so realistically going to have to throw them all out. But a gunfight is taking place. Sir Pivington looking to get a kill onto Tilt, which he will be able to, as Ralph is able to find Swiss Knife as well. 3v5 now with a minute 35 on the clock, approaching that halfway point. And now that top floor control is in Florida. They can get to work with vertical gameplay.
Yeah, in Florida, they just have not been able to make these roams work at all. Super 2 turn. His 2 kills that he found were when he was anchoring on the 3rd floor, not when he was on the roam. When he was on the Valkyrie, he wasn't able to find necessarily that much impact, and
Mm.
same when he was on the Vigil in the previous round. Florida, they're just not quite able to make these roams work, and now Minnesota with a two-man advantage, they're just in a great position. They have time on their side. They have necessarily the ability and the utility remaining to make this execute work, and they can just go for trade frags and cleanly clean out this round.
We will see a bakery hold coming out from Daddy Data, which will get spotted out by the Gemini. Now he has to pull all the way back. He has to retreat all the way. And he can't get through a reinforce, so he will be able to pull back, spin out on those red stairs, unable to really do anything other than Gemini help, but the mute jammer will spot it. However, Ralph will find a kill on the Super Tutor, shutting down that player you said should probably be on the anchor. Unfortunately, it's going to be the death of him here. Daddy Vader, though, look for a kill, will find the head of Spanner, rotating back to site now. 18 seconds on the clock. That 20-second meta has to come through as the smoke canisters will go through and follow. Jay catches the place, going for that plan, goes to the shotgun to Brett, but Sir Bibington finds that kill. Daddy Vader all on his own to stop this plant as the smoke goes down, and the plant will follow. Both him and Skipper are prone, but it's Daddy Vader who breaks first, and Skipper shuts down that round.
Yeah, it did get a bit spicy there at the end of it all, but Minnesota with the multiple man advantage, just able to trade 1-for-1 with their opponents and clean out that round. Now, we said a 4-2 split is very good. That's if you're on the defense. Minnesota, they shored up their mistakes after a bit of a sloppy second round, and it's not looking like that was a monstrous defense from their opponents. It looks like that was a bit more of a fluke, and now that they've found their tempo, they're just finding everything. If they can, even if they do end this half 3-3, that is a win for the attackers. If they can stretch this to 4-2, you're really putting the pressure on your opponents, and you're really forcing them into a difficult position where when they go into that second half, they can make absolutely no mistakes. Otherwise, they're facing down match point really early in.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, and the mental battle is going to be absolutely huge because University of South Florida, the best they can get now is a 3-3 split. If they are to lose any more rounds, they'll, like you said, they'll be looking down the battle match point before they know it, and they'll be going into their second half saying, we just lost a ton of rounds we shouldn't have on our defense. We're going into our attack. They're going to have that natural advantage, and I'm hoping that South Florida have that mentality and the fortitude that you need to overcome that. They're bringing that mirror out again. This is the lineup that actually won them their one round they have on the board so far. So hopefully, I'd like to see a similar play, being ready for these kills. Yep, Jay is going to be playing below, looking for a run out, but I want to see him playing close, looking for this buck, because that buck has been a constant presence, a constant pain. Try and go for it, but it looks like he will be trying to get these Valkyries and get the run outs.
Yeah, and I think it's a good adaptation. You recognized, hey, the people that have been playing these roams, Tilt and Supa, haven't been finding impact. Let's switch that on to a different player, and I think that's a great adaptation. That being said, they're running pretty much the same setup, and unless they do something very different with the roam, I think that Minnesota, they're a very good team. They're going to recognize, hey, we've seen this before. We lost the round, but it was a very close round. We know how to approach this. They'll be able to use those frag grenades to force those players out of position, and they'll be equipped to deal with it. That being said, Jay is a crucial agent in this round. If he can find frags, if he can delay that buck, as you were saying, that could buy Florida just the little bit of time they need, but it does not look like it's going to be that happening this time around, as Minnesota, they're just finding these frags onto the roam. They're not making any mistakes, and while they may be playing a bit slow, they're not getting they're not providing their opponents with many opportunities to find a weakness in their attacking plan.
Jay, this is what I want to see. You hear that buck getting to work, you start moving up those main stairs. But then that relies on Minnesota being very reckless and not having flight cameras, which is something you might have to expect. But damage is starting to go out. Skipper trying to take a little bit of damage off of his teammate, but Super Teuton will find Spenner, ripping Yana's head off and just getting him away from that. Don't want to see any of it. Now Tilt's looking for a kill of his own, tags up Ralph, but just doesn't find it, and Impact nades himself. Oh no. Oh sweetie, oh honey, don't do that. Please. But we are seeing this is very much going to go in the favor of Minnesota should this continue on par. We still have Jay on the roam though. He can still cause a lot of issues. He hears the drones coming out. He spots he spots Ralph and finds that kill. Now it is a 3v3. Twistai playing in this freezer area has a lot of audio in the playoff. As the flashbangs will come out, Super Tutu will be looking for a kill, and so will Swiss Knife. But the smoke's coming out, the push is coming out with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that you can do with the Ace as well as the Ying. You can go for these smoke plants, but USF, they can also just go for the kills, and you may be able to put yourself into a good position. But if you don't click heads, you're not going to win the round. In USF, they're able to click heads, and they're able to win the round. A flurry of frags coming out in the midst of everything. And South Florida, they were able to make that adaptation. They were able to change the play styles of their different players. Jay was able to find a crucial kill on that buck. And looking at the attackers, they were able to clear that second floor, but they didn't do their due diligence. They didn't drone everything out, and that allowed Jay to play in a bit of that fog of war, going undetected, staying on that first floor for quite some time and striking just when that was needed. We'll see them move to the first floor once again, and I have to say they've lost, I think, all 3 times they went down onto the first floor. I would really like to see them
Defenders,
move to the
protect your
second
bombs
floor.
from
It's a
being
very
defused by
solid site,
attackers.
and it definitely will allow you to throw something different at your opponent. As you've seen, Minnesota, they're well equipped to deal with this first floor site.
As you said, you know, yes, reading. I think I want to see them go to reading, hopefully, but unfortunately they won't be. But let's talk about what if they did. Because like you said, Minnesota, they know how to attack this. They know how you defend it. They won both the rounds that have been on this site, and now you'll go taking them there again. What do you have to lose by trying out reading? They haven't seen the strats you play there. You can really bunk it down. You don't have access to that top 4 site. And Minnesota, I do want to talk a little bit about how they approached it. If they were going to be on attack, if we do see overtime and we do see Minnesota attacking again, that top 4 site, I would like to see them go for a more typical push from that west side. Because USF, both times they've won, it's been an east side push coming out from Minnesota. But I'm going to stop focusing on that. We're going to talk about this kitchen site. Again, very similar setup. We got Jay over in coat. He's got that smoke. So very close range angles. You have Super 2 on that vigil over on that top floor. It looks like it's going to be another roam clear out, and that's what Minnesota need to do right now, especially with the way that Super 2 wants to play.
Yeah, if they are able to drone this player out, find the invisible man, and execute him in good time, then they will be in a good position. If they don't do their due diligence, if they don't find this player out, then they will struggle. But we do see the ping 2.0 coming out. They have spotted him, and with him being cornered, he does have those impact nades to fall back, but he's just sitting there, and this likely will be an early kill coming out from Minnesota. They're spamming him down the walls, they're closing in, but they're not collapsing on them with more than one player. Skipper is able to find his position and try and find something against him, but they're burning a lot of time. They're able to find the kill, and that's crucial. That could have gone terribly. That could have backfired so easily, but it didn't. And Minnesota able to find that kill. They stave off a potential backstab opportunity. That being said, while Turnt wasn't able to find damage or kill, what he did buy is time. You're only seeing soft destruction coming out in 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining on the clock. That's not nearly enough time as you would normally like to find the pressure from above.
You know, being completely critical of Minnesota right now, realistically, they should be 2 players down with the way that they approached that roam clear and the way they went for the kill with Skipper. Luckily for, you know, Minnesota, they were able to find the kill, but Skipper, he's also going to find more than he bargained for in Jay. Playing that smoke, playing that reception area, he can back up the coach there. Yes, he's on his own. Yes, he's all alone, but he has the shot. This is a spot. that the SAS players in the team love to play, and there's a very good reason why. The SMG shotgun, it's just so criminal in this position. The frag grenade, though, will come out looking for him. Skipper will do a little bit of damage, and Sir Pivington comes to the push. He will find that kill and bring us down to a 3v5. 20 seconds left on the clock, and the push needs to come out from Minnesota. They have that double door control, but they need the crossfire now. Over need to rotate around Bacon. They might not have time. Sir Pivington's able to find Swiss through the Yin Candela. Beautiful tilt. Look at this. Slow them down in Bakery. It's just happening. 2 seconds left. The plant's going down. The C4 doesn't get caught. What doesn't catch that defuser? And now Daddy Vader all on his own. Look at that Yana, but he just can't make it. Spenner finding that kill. Finding UMN. A 4-2 split on their attack.
And while that was a flawless round for the attackers, that came down to the wire. The two players on those somewhat roams, the horizontal hold from the smoke, able to buy a ton of time. They were able to find that kill, but if you looked at the clock, there was only 20 seconds for them to make that execute. Even in a two-man advantage, finding the execute with just 20 seconds remaining on the board against a Wumai Jaeger combination is going to be very difficult. You don't have the opportunity to frag your opponents out, to drop some smoke grenades or frag grenades onto site. That being said, Florida, they just made some very questionable plays. Their Wumai just ran out in front of the double wide door and kitchen
Defenders,
for
protect your bombs
no
from
apparent
being used
reason.
by attackers.
He did not need to be there. He could have held that angle. It just looked a bit chaotic, and Florida, maybe an issue with their comms. I don't know. What's done is done, though. As we go to this second half, Siege very much a game of two halves, and we will go to this second floor reading. Personally, my favorite site, one of the most skill expressive in the game, as you have such macro potential for the defenders. You not only have to clear off this
10
third
seconds
floor, but
left
you
before
have to do so without letting your opponent retreat back to the second floor. If they're able to retreat back to the second floor with 5 members alive, you're in a
Attackers
difficult
must
position
locate
because
and
you've
defuse
burned
the
out
bomb.
too much time. If you're the defenders, you have a great decision to go between: do we fall back? Do we fight? What is a reasonable amount of time to bargain with? And do we sacrifice our lives to hold on to this third floor for longer into the round?
Now, I'm going to be honest, Al, I've seen that the reading site, it seems to have made them much more, it seems to kind of rise in its pick rate, in my opinion. So some teams, others will definitely go for the more typical site, like we've seen Florida do themselves. But Minnesota, they've gone for that, and they've said, okay, this is arguably one of the hardest ones, but it's one of the more enjoyable ones to watch and to cast. And I think to really think about, because it's one of those where it's a top floor site. It's exactly the same as a top floor hold, and then you just pull back. And I know we've talked about it a lot, Al, because you absolutely know that I love it. So.
Yeah. I really like to see teams play this site because it really exemplifies what makes a good team from a great team. A good team will be able to force these players back, and they will be able to do so without losing much in terms of utility. But a great team, they'll be able to get those crossfires and deny their opponents from rotating back through white stairs, as well as the hatch in Cocktail.
Bomb located by
If they're
attackers.
able to do that, then they'll be in a good position. However, Florida, they're not quite there just yet. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining on the clock, and Minnesota still have full control of the third floor. There's no sign of Florida being able to get control, and if they're looking to make this execute without control of the third floor, the round's over before it even starts to make this execute happen.
Yes, we are down, as you said, into the second half of this round. And Tilt has made it into the building. He's able to find the first kill with 1 minute left on the clock. 1/3 is left. That is not a small statistic. That is not a small thing. And now what you see is the defenders, they could just say, okay, so let's start pulling back. Super 2-turn, though, will find Ralph and shut down that mirror play. As Minnesota just got a hold, though. That's the only thing. They need to use time and Tilt, able to find Sir Pivington, able to find Tilt and take him off the board. Now it looks like Florida, they're just going for a linear push. They're going on this wall. They don't want verticality. They don't want to flank anyone. Sir Pivington, though, he catches Swiss Knife. Trying to do exactly that, actually. caught me a bit off guard seeing that sledge going white stairs, but Super Teuton, he's on the site now, but the smoke's up and the audio cue giving Sir Bivington all he needs to get another kill. Spanner finds Jay as well, it's all over the Daddy Data down below. 14 seconds on the clock, ticking down quickly. He has to go through multiple crossfires to get the diffuser, and Al, I think that's it.
Yeah, USF, they made the round close, but only because they hit their shots. If USF won that round, it would have been off the back of their fragging potential and their fragging potential alone. Minnesota, they played that round strategically very well. They set themselves up in a great position. They exploited the third floor control, which pretty much single handedly denied their opponents the ability to even think of attacking the reading site. And when you go over towards the dining part of that split site, you're going to run into the issue of the Jaeger playing on white stairs. There's so much crossfire enabled. You have the reading players that can play through the feet holes. You have the white stairs player that can also play through the feet holes. And if you're not in a position to deal with that,
Defenders,
which
protect your bombs from being defused by
the
attackers.
attackers obviously weren't, you're going to lose that round. Minnesota, while they didn't have the fragging potential, while they didn't find the kills early on into that round, and that gave a silver lining of hope for the Floridian team, they just had the better strategy. And when all goes wrong, if you have the better strategy, you have something to fall back to. And if you don't, like Florida, you don't have anything to fall back to. You're solely relying on your guns to work, and if you don't win every single one
10
of your
seconds left
engagements,
before insertion.
you're just going to lose the round. We move to this third floor. It's going to be another very difficult attack for Florida to manage, and
Attackers'
if they
objective
can't
is to
attack
locate a
this more
bomb and
default
defuse it.
strategy with, in my opinion, better Mira setups, they're going to be in a very difficult position and in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, that's going to be a key part of doing all this, and we're seeing one of the more prevalent strats, actually. Not really sure about the mirror placement, probably looking towards that default position, but I think a lot of teams, when they're at the point where they want to go for these plants, and they, especially from a north side plant, or when they're looking at this, they're looking at it from a default plant. They're going to want to have control of that freezer bathroom area already, so your mirror is a bit risky. You might not have control of the bathroom on the other side. The pixel player might still be up, but at that point you won't want to be going for an attack. But Super Teuton, he doesn't care about what I'm saying. He's gonna find Sir Bivington and find that Valkyrie ripping away the C4 from the team there. They've got left in Ralph, who is gonna be playing towards bathroom. But Minnesota, they've got a very aggressive hold, a very prevalent west side hold compared to a lot of teams. So they're going to be looking for a lot of these kills. Some of them, he's going to be playing the pixel position. The Wamai constantly putting those magnets out there, constantly putting pressure on the attackers. But Spenner's going to be doing it himself, finding the head of Jay. And holding this freezer, he is 10-3. His 10th kill, Al.
Color me surprised. The SMG coming out on smoke. If you can make it work, that's all that you need to do. That being said, looking at this defense from Minnesota, making a west side push is going to be monstrously difficult. You're going into the pixel angle, which is already enough of a challenge on its own, but you're going into a smoke and into a Mira who has information. Without the Malusi typically making this executed easier, as you don't have these bulletproof gadgets to slow you down. That being said, we see the Mira. She's able to go for the default plant spot. She's able to find information, and USF, they've been slow to adapt in these mid-rounds. They're able to find frags, but it's just going to be difficult for them to make these executes.
Daddy Vader, though, will be walking up white stairs. Finds one kill and traded out very quickly. Now Ralph, the plan has gone down. The mirror window wasn't able to stop it. And now it's a 2v2. Thanks to an incredible flank coming out. Skipper and Ralph, they both need to go these kills. So the C4 will go out, but Florida, they can back up. They can take the longer range engagement. Until, oh, this is nasty. He gets behind the mirror, but doesn't find the kill. Ralph goes to the swing onto Sophia, finds her. It's all down to Tilt to stop this. The plane can go down, but he finds Ralph, but Skipper, sorry. Still getting used to the names, Al. Apologies for that. But Skipper will get the swing, will get the kill at the DPs, and most importantly, Minnesota match point for Ken.
Yeah, Cafe going match point this early on. It's just been a very impregnable defense for Minnesota. And Florida, if you looked on like the kills that they got, all of them were pretty spectacular. I I, I want to give the credit that I can to these players. They're hitting shots that just should not be hit. That being said, Minnesota, their kills haven't been flashy, but they don't need to be. They just put themselves in a good position where the kills come to them. And at the end of it all, while
Mm.
Florida put up a valiant effort, it's still just a strong default position coming out from your opponents. And they go to the first floor. We see them complete the full rotation, and with a mirror coming out,
Attackers need to
they
locate
just
and
look
defuse
so
bombs.
strategically sound. They look so drilled on these defaults in Florida. They've been hitting their shots, but they just haven't been equipped necessarily to deal with it as early
Attackers
on,
have
and they
discovered the
have to
location
rely
of a
on this
bomb.
fragging potential, which unfortunately for them isn't quite carrying them through the round as they would have liked.
Ooh, I'm looking at this, Al. I'm looking at that one reinforcement in freezer,
Ooh.
and that says there's going to be a mirror there for me. But what it also says to me is we're going to see a VIP hold alongside this, well, probably a bakery hold.
10 seconds
Because you can
remaining.
tell Minnesota, as they hit match point, they've been reaching deep into the strap book. And like you said,
5 seconds left before
it's been
insertion.
something that USF, they're not really prepared to really work
Attackers
around and get
objective
those
is the
adaptations.
bomb.
They've had the they're doing a lot of things right. They're hitting their shots, they're getting these default takes there. They're starting to stunt a little bit in momentum. And it's something we see a lot of newer teams do. Is they're kind of saying, oh, okay, we're here where we want to be, but how do we get moving? If they'll be able to, we'll be finding out in the next 2 minutes, 38 seconds on my clock, because, Al, this round is starting. You do have, yet again, you have that one my by Bakery, but without a reinforce behind him, you're very much playing your life. You are risking that push. I mean, Al, you die. You can't pull back very easily as soon as the ADS is burned. So, the question is, though, for me, are these roamers going to have more of an impact than the actual
The
attackers?
attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
I think
Attackers
that
have recovered their
the
diffuser.
position that Minnesota put themselves in is a very difficult one. If Florida are aware of it and if they have strategies prepared for it, they should be able to deal with them fairly quickly. However, that's been the weak point, and that's why I think this is going to be such a crucial round for Minnesota. We saw
Hmm.
Sir Pivington. He's now only just barely being spotted out, and that is a minute and 40 seconds remaining on the clock. You don't even have to sacrifice your life to hold on to the second
Hmm.
floor. You can just retreat onto the first floor. And that's one of the big aspects of what you do as a roamer. You bide time for your team. And he's bided his time. He's slowed down his opponents. And while we saw Florida on their roams, they were able to slow down their opponents. It was almost always at the cost of the life of the roamer. In Minnesota, they're just one-upping their opponents. A minute and 20 seconds, and soft destruction is only barely happening at this point, at the cost of a lot of that explosive utility. And Minnesota still 5 men alive, still with all of their horizontal hold still in their hands. This is going to be a nightmare, and
Adding Overwatch.
really, with how strong the defense has been, I just have to assume that this is the final death knell for Florida on this first match of campaign.
No matter how this ends, it's going to be a frag fest and a half. Ralph and Sir
Oh,
Pivington each get a kill, Spencer getting one of his own. Jay will find a trade, finally taking out Sir Pivington on the red stairs. But like we said, at that point, the Roma, you just have to be noticed. Waste time, because that tells the attackers you need to do a roam clear, and if they do, that's a lot of time wasted on the clock. Now Jay is going to be rotating around. He wants to get the kill onto the player in bar, but the C4 coming out will find Daddy Vader. It's all down to Jay and the Grill Spires there for University of Minnesota to close out Gav Dostoyevsky 7-3.
Yeah, that match just looked like the battle of micro versus macro, and really this game of Siege is very much strategy first, fragging second. You can have really strong fragging teams. We see teams like BDS. You have everyone who can frag out, and that is very powerful. But as you see by the scoreboard, if you put yourself into a good position, you can also frag out. And uh, Minnesota, 3 players on double digits, absolutely ridiculous. And even their players who didn't find those ridiculous score lines, they were providing adequately for the team, putting them
Mm.
their teammates in great positions. And really, I just have to give it to Minnesota. They look so prepared. They look so drilled. In Florida, they need to step up these strategies because their fragging can't just carry them through all of these rounds.
Yeah, so I think the best way to really put it in the game versus of aim versus brain, University of South Florida versus University of Minnesota. UMN will take Dostoevsky. Will they be able to close it out with a quick 2-0 onto Villa, which will be our next map? Who knows? Make sure to stick around. We'll be watching that in just a couple of minutes.
Like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so. And now I'm chasing nightmares through. I used to run with you through the great big leaves. Laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. know you just rather watch me fall. From a quarter mile, I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion. Oh, go in. Fall into oblivion. Fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion. I'm going in. You can't fall asleep when you're counting stars. Get it together. Your mind can't sleep when you let it serve. Now you wanna see me fall. From a quarter mile, I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, oblivion, talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Say sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Just
All right, thank you very much for joining us. We are returning to USF versus UMN on our second map of Villa. This is the map pick of Minnesota, and after a fairly dominant first map, Florida, they're going to need to pull it back if they're going to force a map 3. McCready, welcome back. What are your thoughts leading into our second map?
I'm thinking that if there was a moment for University of South Florida to really bring it back, it's this map. Shockingly enough, Villa is, I think, the closest you can get to a frag-heavy map when Coastline is essentially a constant ban from 99% of teams. So Villa is the one where USF are really going to be looking to close it out, bring it back. Whereas University of Minnesota, not North Minnesota, sorry, University of Minnesota, got to get it right, they're going to be looking to shut things down. The IQ being taken away. Now, that's a very interesting ban for a number of reasons. Now, the Thatch is already gone. A Maverick is still on the board, so they could still do that. But they're probably thinking more towards that defensive side. They're saying, okay, we want to run a Cade, or we want to run a Bandit. And if there is, if they're trying to run somebody below an IQ, they don't have to worry about that anymore. They don't have to worry about verticality. If it's a buck being shooting up, then you know about that. You know what's happening. If it's an IQ, a suppressed pistol, you could have a wall be unelectrified without you even noticing. And that's a very dangerous thing to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Moving on to the defensive side, I'd expect for this to be a mirror ban, but we did see that slip through the cracks as we did
Oh.
see in the previous match. Pulse being banned out, he's very commonly picked for the information that he can gain for his team. And my notes are a bit old as I took them right at the end, moving into the first season of NAL. So they do leave out the fact that Ace and Malusi did get added in, but through the entirety of season 11 of Pro League, as well as a decent amount of season 1 of the North American League, there were only effectively 2 bans for the defensive side, and that was Mira and Echo.
Hmm.
Mira is going to be on the board, which I think is very interesting. Echo is going to be 6th picked away from, as he is competitively disabled due to possibly invulnerable yokai drones, and we will go to the second floor. Malusi as well as the Wamai able to be played.
Attackers
Instead,
need to
we will
locate and
see
defuse
the
as many bombs as
Goyo
they
come
can.
out, which will allow a lot of defensive utility to be dropped around. I think it's interesting. No Wamai. It's going to be a bit easier for your opponents to take down those shields as well as bulletproof gadgets, but there's limited amounts of explosives, only 4 that you have effectively between those 2 operators. It's going to be interesting how they allocate them and what Malusi Wubs they choose to leave alive and what they choose to zap out of the air with those breaching rounds as well as concussion
5
nades
seconds remaining.
from the Zofia.
Yeah. One thing I have noticed that I really would like to bring up
Attackers must locate
is going
and
back to the
defuse
bands,
the
and I
bomb.
don't want to backtrack too far, but I do want to talk about the fact that you still have 2 key defensive operators on the board. You still have a Cade. That Cade can electrify walls and it can back up, no problem. You've got a Malusi, you have a Wamai, you have a Jaeger. All of these operators are available to this defensive side. They're going to be making the life of Minnesota a lot harder to get on board. But Jay's going to be looking for this first kill. Will tag him, skip it just a little bit, but pulling back. Now that they're aware, they need to go for the roam clear, which is what this take essentially it revolves around, is clearing out this entire floor and this entire half of a map and then moving forward. What they might not know is Super and Jay are both going to be roaming around this kitchen area waiting. So yeah, they have flank drones set up. You have Ralph, who's now sorted out the pipe, so won't be any explosions today, Al. Now that they are holding those positions, they're going to have
bomb
to
has
try and
been
be as
located.
quiet as possible, waiting for the attackers to just forget about them.
Yeah, this map of Villa is, I believe, the largest map in the competitive pool. It means that clearing out your roamers from the entirety of the map is near impossible. Instead, you're going to have to rely on clearing out the effective parts of the map that you need, forcing your roamers into distant locations, setting up your nomad air jabs in crucial locations, as well as flank drones as
Attackers
well
have
as
dropped the
people
bomb
to watch
diffuser.
those areas
Attackers have recovered
in
their
order to
diffuser.
hold on to them and exploit the sound cues that you get from those operators. That being said, Florida, they're playing around this perfectly. They don't give up any early frags. One of the aspects that you do get from playing a bandit over the Cade, while your gadgets are a bit less effective in terms of their survivability, it allows you to go for the Romans, and they're finding early damage onto their opponents. They're pressuring them, and as Swiss Knife finds a beautiful long-range kill with that SMG-11, beautiful recoil control coming out from them. They stall out their opponents. A one-for-one trade does go in their favor, but Minnesota, they are a very solid team. They don't succumb to pressure, and they are striking back.
This is exactly where we'll see Florida looking to end it out, though, even if they do try and strike back. But we are seeing Minnesota. They are taking a lot of control. The Roman coming out will be shut down very quickly by Spinner, Ralph, Pivington, and some digging. Now it's all down to Tilt, playing on the main stairs. Could be walking upstairs slowly. The plan is going down. Minnesota not
Attackers are
hunting the kill,
activating
not
the
getting
bomb
greedy.
diffuser.
They're saying, okay,
Attackers
we're going to wait.
located a bomb.
Watching those main stairs. A player is prone. Tilt finds him, but doesn't find a shot or even really care. Will just run off over towards that bookshop and will fall to something. And the first round going in favor of Minnesota. They are looking to close this out with a swift 2-0. Nice clean cut to the University of South Florida, but they're going to be trying to stop that and make them work for it as we do return to the same site.
I think that round was very descriptive of how this match and how this series as a whole has been going. You saw some initial micro plays coming out from South Florida. Jay finding initial damage on the Rome, falling back. Micro play. That was very good. You saw Swiss Knife finding a long range kill with a hollow on an SMG-11. Besting, I believe that was Sir Pivington or another
Attackers need to
agent
locate and
at
defuse
long
the
range
bomb.
who has an AR with a 2-time scope. Those are shots that are very hard to hit from South Florida, and praise goes to them for hitting them. That being said, with the man advantage, with time ticking down, for some reason, they decided to get very aggressive on their phones in Minnesota. They keep their heads on their shoulders. They keep their head on a swivel. They were able to set up their crossfires, deal with those final players, get themselves the post plant, and then just
10 seconds
not
left before
succumb
insertion.
to any clutch potentials, get those crossfires set up
5 seconds to
perfectly,
insertion.
and just clean that round out in clinical fashion.
Attackers are moving
South
out to
Florida, they
locate a
have
bomb and
so many
defuse it.
these opportunities. They open up these rounds so many times with man advantages, and then just as soon as they get that lead passed to them by the macro play, they throw it right back to their opponents with some questionable decisions.
Yes, but they're going to be looking to minimize them, and I personally hope they do. I'd really like to see a theme park, like we talked about before. A map that a lot of teams really haven't enjoyed going to, but Jay's going to be the one trying to lead us to theme park himself. Going for that early gunfight, will be falling back quite quickly, and an advantage of this is the All Might will suddenly pop up. Eventually, he'll put the magnet out, and it will be able to catch a flashbang. They know that he's playing there. They know they have to push our position, use utility to do that, and the same with Swiss Knife. That's the key part about this staged drone, which is something Chief has talked about. I'm pretty sure you've worked with him before, Al. You shoot a drone, you be spotted, you make sure they know, then you pull back as soon as they know that they have to waste time and utility going for
A
these
bomb
clears.
has been located.
That's what South Florida's doing really well. Swiss Knife is holding this 90 position. He's waiting. He's holding there. He is waiting until he gets spotted. Now we're seeing Minnesota, they're getting this advantage. They're getting these plays. They're getting positions they want to be in. Pivington going onto the 90 window, as you see Swiss Knife pulling back. That's not a bad play, but I think go there a little bit earlier. You could have caught him off guard much, much quicker.
Yeah, that being said, I really like that top-down view that we get of Minnesota going for this roam clear. You can see every single one of their
Attackers have
players
dropped the bomb
is
diffuser.
adequately droned in.
Attackers
They're
recovered the
following
bomb
1 to
diffuser.
2 drones. It forces their opponents back, and they get control of this site perfectly. That being said, Florida, they did fall back in good time, and they did preserve their man advantage. However, the Maverick trick comes out, and those bullet holes, those little murder holes, allows Minnesota to find the initial frag. They're not overstepping their bounds. They're not getting over aggressive. They're playing this macro play, this default strategy to a T.
Spenner's able to find another kill onto Tilt. Jay's going to take some damage from behind him. The ban The pan feed is going to go up, but Ralph will fall. Most importantly, Maverick being taken away, so is Swiss Knife. The kill will come in, and the push is coming out from Pivington. They need to push out Jay. One concussion nade, one impact nade can do it, but Jay is getting that last magnet. He could use it if he wants to, but 30 seconds, he knows the push is going to come soon. He doesn't have time to throw it out there. Drones are following. They are coming in quick. So Pivington spots him, and Jay has to run before the claws of death come through. And there it is. Jay will get felled, and Daddy Vader on his own embark. The plant starts to go down. He does have that 77. He does have the C4 and the rotational to make it. C4 goes but gets caught on the wall, and the plank goes down. That is heartbreaking. He goes to the peak of the second attempt, but just can't get it. And Minnesota just kind of waltzing their way through to another round.
Yeah, this is the map pick of Minnesota, and you can very clearly see that in how confident they are on their attacks. They know exactly what they need to do. You could see in that roam clear, they set themselves up in a good position. They forced their opponents back. South Florida, they just were trapped. They were cordoned off, and they sacrificed control of the map. And when it came down to everything, Minnesota, they won their ones, but more importantly, they had players in position to trade. When they didn't win their 50-50 gunfight, there was someone right in position to swing and find the trade, and that's something that we haven't seen from South Florida. They aren't quite utilizing all of these aspects as we move to trophy statuary. And I was expecting for one, maybe two of these operators to be 6 picked away from, but we do in fact see the Capcan and the Kentucky Gentleman of the Warden. We've seen Warden rise in popularity, but break down this strategy. This is some interesting stuff here, McCready.
It is. I'm looking at this, and I mean, to me, I think you pull the shield back a little bit. Because then you could have a Jaeger, you could have an ADS nearby, but we're not even seeing that on the board. Not even a Wamai. So what I'm hearing out from Florida, what this lineup is screaming to me, is they're not going to be in positions long enough for Minnesota to flash them out. But the thing is, that would probably work better for an extended roam or a bottom floor site, I think, where you have that flexibility of just moving around. But I don't know how I feel about this. Jay could get pushed out really quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. One of the things that I would really like to see from teams is the closet hold, playing with the Wamai. You have that extended shield that you can really exploit the crossfires coming in on that far eastern side. And now you see the southern take coming in. We saw how effective Minnesota was on their horizontal take the first time around. Now, Jay, he has no backup. He has no ADSs, no Wamai magnets. He has no opportunity to fall back into safety, and they are just slaughtering their opponents. The Capcan charges are a mere afterthought. Yes, they can find damage, but against a very drilled team like Minnesota, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find any free frags coming from those players. And
yeah,
this is so difficult. Minnesota, they look so drilled, and Florida, they're going to have to find a miracle comeback in this round and later in this half.
I'm going to be honest, looking at the Capcan, if you're relying on the Capcan to do the frag work for you, that's not a good sign, mainly because the Capcan charges, they only do that 20 damage. You need to hit all 5 to secure a kill purely off that. You need to be ready for the gunfights. You can't expect the Capcan to do the work. Yes, it makes the gunfights easier, but you need a utility, you need the ADS, and you need someone to turn off Spenner. He is on fire right now, finding Swiss Knife as well, taking away that Warden. So, okay, even if you say, right, Jaeger Wamai, that was a plan. That was planned, that's what we wanted. They can't work, but Daddy Vader will, as he's able to find Spenner. Skipper nearly spotting another player. The player that is Tilt, but Tilt is played with safe pull back behind the shield. He knows the push is coming through. His Legion Mines will go down. And Skipper getting down to Super. That's going to be a kill that they desperately need right now if they want to stop Minnesota.
Yeah, Florida, they're just striking back with these frags, and it is a really crucial aspect. They need to be finding these kills, because if you look on paper, Minnesota, they just have the utility advantage. They have the map control advantage, and the silver lining is the fact that Florida, they're a team of gunners. They have the K1A, they have the T5 SMG. Those are two very powerful weapons, and now we can see it is just gonna come down to the
15
frag.
seconds
15
left.
seconds remaining on the clock. It's gonna be a chaotic execute, and one that might
10
just
seconds
give
left.
Florida their
Attackers
first round
recovered
on
the
the
bomb
board.
diffuser.
Yeah, Till's able to find Ralph through a pre-fire,
seconds
through
remaining.
Astro all the way over to that master bedroom, but so Bivington's going Astro. The plant is going down, he finds one! Oh, Bivington, if you can find at least one more, that is huge. But the plant's going down before you can. The C4 goes out, but doesn't find a kill. So Bivington hangs up. Just that little bit more, but now they can pull back, they can wait, they can hold. They have the advantages yet again as Minnesota look to pick up a third round. Pre-fire goes out onto a dead body, but unfortunately it just isn't meant to be on him. The crossfire in play, it's gonna make it almost impossible as you see some Diggum will fall to tilt, the DPS will start to come out, there's not enough time. Super 2-turn goes for the kill, he's able to down Bivington, but the pickup can't come out. He goes to the swing, and some Diggum is there to shut him down. UMN, they get another round. They have secured at least a 3-3 half, and like we said on the last map, that's a really strong position to be in.
Yeah, and even more so on this map of Villa. Yes, it is Minnesota's map pick, but Villa is much more defender-sided than Cafe. It is a very difficult map to attack if you set up correctly on the defense, and we do see more of the tendency to go towards that 4-2 split with a 3-3 split being very strong for the attackers. It looks very difficult for South Florida, and we saw that in the previous round. We saw that despite being in a 2v2, the attackers, they had so much utility on their board. Pivington not only has the gun, as well as Ace having a very powerful weapon, but they also have smokes,
Attackers need to
they have
locate and defuse as
concussions,
many bombs
they
as they
have
can.
their secondary gadgets to open up these rounds. And Minnesota, they're in such a better position in so many of these areas because of their initial operator picks. And not only that, but they're playing their operator picks perfectly. Florida, they're finding cracks, and they've been doing that excellently. Jay hasn't been stepping up in this match. He was a veritable force in the previous one. We saw South Florida bouncing back from nearly the brink of defeat in that previous
10
round
seconds
when it
remaining.
looked pretty dire for them in that 5v4 with so much control going to
5
Minnesota.
seconds to go.
They were able to bring it back, but Minnesota, they just look better prepared. They look like
Attackers'
they've
objective
drilled
is to
themselves
locate a
more.
bomb
They
and
look
defuse
like
it.
they've practiced more in scrims. And while the fragging potential is there for Florida, the strategy is just overpowering for the attackers.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep it one honey with you here, Al. I think the message went through to South Florida very early on in that last round. I think they were listening to us. They heard when we said, you haven't got anything to shut down any flashbangs. You can't stop frag grenades. You can't stop these Sophias. You know, you need something, at least anything. And that's what they've decided to bring. We've got a Bandit on the board, we've got a Jaeger and a Valkyrie as well. A much more typical lineup for this side than you expect to see. And the Maverick coming out as well will be looking to just shut down, make these lines of sight, but Swiss will be looking for something more.
Yeah. Minnesota, they have the opportunity to make these early round plays. They're setting themselves up very well. Maverick trick not coming out completely. I'm interested to see what they did there, but they're able to find impact on these rounds very early on. And South Florida, they need to find this aggressive plays. They know that they're just going to lose these rounds if they continue at their same pace. They try and find the aggressive play. It does not work out for them. Swiss might find the first deaths for the team, and Minnesota, now the Wolves are circling. They're going around their opponents, and they're just going to suffocate them out unless South Florida continues these aggressive plays. A Nitro Cell is a good start to just that.
Yeah, being able to find that ace at this point in the round is huge. Half of the round has just elapsed, and now it's left a 4v4. And that's a crossfire tilt. Oh, there's just no escape. There's a fear charge or ash charge, I'm not really sure which, opening up that entire desk. And just 3 guns trained immediately on tilt, shutting down the Jaeger, shutting down the 416, and most importantly, allowing Skipper to just walk in and find Daddy Vader. He's going to be looking for more. There is a shotgun. He does, I think, just see the feet. No, he will be pulling out that weapon. Like I said, so 2-turn. He knows someone's there. He knows that they've lost that map control, so they need to go for retake. This is not This is not a hold scenario. The plant is going down, and it's going to get off as far as I'm aware. But we need to see something huge. Jay tries to look for it, but just can't find it. Yet again, Super Tutin on his own. He finds Spenner, but Spenner gets the kill. Not Spenner. It's not him. I'm not really sure. It's Skipper. There we go. The kill feed, the ban feed from Battle Alliance. It's doing me a dirty here, Al.
Yeah, and the fact that there are so many similar players from the side of Minnesota, it's 4 S names. That's just intentionally screwing with us as casters. That's one of the
There's
just
6 in
remembering
the
simple
lobby.
things. Yeah, I don't get it. Who sent out this memo? Who is like, okay, we're just gonna screw with these guys. Anyways, going in, I really like the setup coming out from Central Florida, for South Florida. They recognized, hey, our opponents are great with vision. They know how to attack this side. Let's bring out the Mozzie Mute. That's a great combination. While it has fallen off in popularity,
Attackers need to
it's a
locate and
very good
defuse as many
strategy
bombs
to
as they
bring on a
can.
map like Villa. If you look from this top-down view, you can recognize that, hey, there's not a lot of very open areas, and what that means is that Mute Jammers and Mozzie Pests are all the more powerful. You have the ability to cordon off vision much better than you do on larger scale maps like Cafe and like Clubhouse. You have much more impact with a Mozzie Mute combination, and I think that that's a great strategy they're bringing. We see commonly
10
the
seconds to
Ella
insertion.
playing with a shotgun in the upstairs
5 seconds left.
closet position to deny that second floor control. She's very good at holding down
Attackers
those
must
areas.
locate
I think
and
that's a
defuse
very
the bomb.
interesting strategy and one that I really like coming out from South Florida. But that being said, we saw how drilled Minnesota was. This kill onto the player in Astro, onto, I can't remember, I think it was Tilt who was playing the Jaeger. It's just so beautiful. It's not the flashiest kill, as you don't have to like go for the crazy Shaiko one tap flick. It's just clinical. You put yourself in a good position. You have redundancy there. Yeah, Tilt may hit the craziest shot of his life, but it will not matter because you have 3 guns trained on him. And once again, it looks like Minnesota, they just are prepared to take this side.
It looks, I'm gonna say it. I think they're getting ready for rush. They're getting drones in. They're getting
A bomb has been
prepped,
located.
and you see Skipper's ready to lead the charge. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Ralph is leading us in. They are running right to crossfire,
not
but he's
like
able to
this.
find Tilt. He's going to look for another one. He gets knocked down. Suddenly, you have Super to get a kill. Super 2 turns to the side, able to find one kill, but has to look for more. We're in a 3v3 already. The plan is going down to site control. Only a minute's gone off the clock, and Skipper. It feels like Minnesota, they've got all the control. Daddy Vader will go down. There is Super 2 turn will go down as well. And now it's all down to Jay, that mute Mozzie you were talking about. Oh, Al, I saw it as you were talking about positioning. And I was just watching the fact that Minnesota, they were saying, okay, we're ready for a push. Let's drone it. Let's see where they are. Let's see what we need to do. And my God, did they do it, Al.
I would have expected that kind of a play to be coming out from Florida. However, Minnesota, they showed that they can show up on the day. They look like an incredible team, and unfortunately, this is one of the aspects that we see with such a large bracket in Collegiate Rainbow Six. You have, unfortunately, for teams like South Florida, a very large skill disparity. Minnesota look like coming into this match just such a stronger team. They look like they've drilled themselves perfectly. They've gone through their VODs. And while the
Attackers
fragging
need to
potential
locate
is
and
there,
defuse
you
bombs.
have the building blocks, the fundamentals there for Florida. They look refined from Minnesota, and they are putting it to beautiful work as they go up 5-0, looking to push it to 6-0 on the first half and close this match out in record pace. They're trying to make the any percent speed run of Villa the 100% category, and so far they're running negative splits. They're doing everything they need to.
They're really,
10 seconds
like you
remaining.
said, they really are prepared just to go and get what they want, get it done.
5
And
seconds to go.
on an attack, they are 5-0 so far. Looking to go 6-0 in match
Attackers are
point just
moving
on the
out to
attack. So
locate a
that
bomb and
is,
defuse it.
that's something. And I don't really know how to describe it other than dominant.
We see this coming out. USF, they're a gunner stack. And if you run against them in ranked, I would, I would say my prayers, pray to the Ubisoft gods, and hope they don't take too much elo away from me in my MMR after the game ends in a flawless victory for them. That being said, if they run into a very prepared team that has the strategy to avoid the fragging potential, to play around those aspects, you see Brain typically take over aim
Bomb
in
located
terms
by
of that
attackers.
battle. That being said, some cheeky strategies coming out from Super 2 Current, hiding in the plant. That is dirty. As they find, I believe that's the first man advantage in this entire map.
Yeah, they're able to find that, and that's something they badly need so far. The utility and information of the Black Eye feeding these Southern Florida players, but then the castle barricade slowing them down, getting that kill box, which the defenders need to find these kills. It is absolutely beautiful to see, and it's something that I think USF are also very happy to see themselves, but immediately they're going to get controlled. Daddy Vader's putting some fire onto the Maverick, looking for the kill, able to find the head of Ralph, getting that Maverick, but Spencer's there. He's looking for the kill, he just can't get it just yet. Picking up the fuser, he might have to just play it safe as we see Daddy Vader pull back.
Yeah. USF, we can see them just putting on their fragging potential for full display. If you give them a 50-50 gunfight, they're most likely going to win it. And we can see them coming out 50-50 gunfights, and University of Minnesota, they lose them all day long. Florida, they're winning every single one of these engagements, and Minnesota getting a bit ahead of themselves, giving their opponents the play style that they would have liked to see. And now, as Pivington is the last man alive, he finds a single kill, but is effectively a 1v5 at this point, with Spencer being down. This isn't looking good, and Florida, this is silver lining. This is exactly how they need to play, but it's their backs against the wall. You would have liked to see this maybe like 3-4 rounds ago, not when they are facing down the barrel of match point in the first half.
Yeah, that's way too close. And going on to your attack, 4 rounds down, Al, there's only one way to really understand the mentality of USF going into this attacking half, and that is to play and feel and know how it feels by doing it yourself. I do it in my uni league sometimes. Back about half a year ago, I was playing on the first team, and we would have these games, and we'd go in down a ton of rounds on our defense, going into our attack, and you just look at it and you're like, what do we do? How do we do this? We've just lost how many rounds on our defense? Now we've got to go and catch up and then
Attackers need
win
to
on our
locate and
attack.
defuse as
And
many
it's
bombs
just,
as they can.
it's a mental hill that you need to climb, and hopefully USF can do it, because, like you said, we can see Theme Park. I'll be very happy today.
Yeah, I would love to see Theme Park. It's a map that I really would like to see more often. And even in best of 5, it's still banned out, and that makes me very sad. I think that new maps, they always have a lot to offer to teams who like to develop strategies. That being said, I think that it would
10 seconds
heavily
remaining.
favor a team like Minnesota. If you don't have your strategies down on a map like Theme Park, it's very scary. Your opponents can
Attackers
just
are
crossfire
moving out to
you to
locate
high
bombs
heaven.
and defuse
They can exploit the massive amounts of map control that you can gain from default strategies, and really exploit weaknesses better. We see Minnesota now on the defense. There's a mirror on the board. You best bet they are going to play it. It is banned out 100% of the time in competitive play for a reason. It is oppressive. It changes fundamentally how you play sites. You're not going to be able to challenge this Western side. That being said, Florida, they don't care about your strategies. They don't care about your best laid plans. They're just going to go frag.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Super Teaching is doing, finding Sir Pivington and Ralph now. Those are 2 huge frags to enter into.
Bomb
The
located by
mirror
attackers.
playing over by that trophy kind of stands out to me as a bit of a... Well, I'm not sure why that's happening, but I will allow that. Maybe it's an extension strat, which I can see happening. We've seen it from... Now we're seeing the we're seeing USF look like they're really going to start waking up as we see Super 2 turn and find another kill. And it looks like you can also see Jay, he's looking to get something else as well. The stunning side can be opened up really easily, especially with this Cali on the board and the plant is going down. And then these sightlines, they can be absolutely abused by this Cali and her sniper rifle with Skipper Trash. He's going to look for one of them, but he goes down almost immediately. Some is able to find one, but immediately shot in the back by his counterpart, Cali. And that is USF able to find another round.
Yeah. There's two parts to every execution. You have your strategy, and then you have your micro. And Minnesota, they had their macro play, but they didn't have their micro. And USF, Super 2 turn, he vibe checked them. Minnesota failed the vibe check, and he found a quick 3 kills. And the round was pretty much over before it even started. That was ridiculous coming out from them. And for a lot of fragging teams, it's very momentum based. Momentum is in their side. Wind is in their sails, and now they move on to the second floor attacking site with that momentum. They'll be in a very good position, and if they can continue this form, they'll be in a very good position to continue that momentum that their
Defenders,
opponents had
protect your
on that
bombs
first
from
half.
being defused by attackers.
If they can push this to overtime, it'll be an incredible feat and one that I would absolutely love to see. But you know, I'm going to be honest, Al. We've seen a lot of attacker-sided games recently. I personally have, in the many leagues that I've been working with, a lot of teams, they've been unafraid to really start picking up these rounds on attack. And
Attackers have located
it
a
looks
bomb.
like USF are no different. Minnesota, they've been more than happy to oblige and fulfill this and win their
Bomb
attack
located
rounds.
by
And
attackers.
USF, they decided they want a piece of the action as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they look very strong, and they look to be stepping up. They're bringing
5
operator
seconds
picks
left
that we
before
didn't see
insertion.
on their opponent's side. Swiss knife with the Hibana, utilizing that
Attackers
speed
are moving
to
to use the
allow them
bomb.
to play with that greater tempo. Cali as well, a very long-range weapon, very interesting and a unique play style. She also has those LV explosive lances, which will help them deal with the 3 deployable shields on the board for the side of Minnesota, as well as those castle barricades. That being said, only an Ash for the explosive utility, as well as 6 flash bangs between those two operators is going to make it hard to deal with the Wamai and the Jaeger. So it will rely on them finding early pressure with these players. And with Spenner finding an early kill, yes, a 1v1 is taken out, but that is active utility in terms of those ass-breaching rounds and crucial explosives that you don't have on the board to deal with those shields.
Yeah, Jay's able to find a kill onto Spanner. Sir Pivington gone as well. Yes, Super 2 is down, but you still have tilt with that. Cali utilizing those long lines of sight, which, let's be honest, we talked about it before, are very few and far between. But one of them is when you see Wamai. He is now essentially stuck towards that master bedroom side, unless he goes for a long rotate, dismantling the castle barricades, and just Ralph. Speaking of castle, Ralph is wanting a little bit of this gunfight. He saw a bit of flank play in the last game and said he wants some of it. Oh, but he just can't hit the head of Kelly. He's able to get the claymore. He goes for a kill. He tags up. He doesn't even tag Tilt up. And just has to pull. He is very unhappy with himself, waiting, begging that Kelly will come down those stairs, but it's just not going to be as long as USF are playing this smart. Apparently not, until we'll still win that gunfight. Ralph will go down, and now it's a 2v4. A minute 10 going onto the clock. Skip is able to bring it down to the 2v3. Jumping out, looking for the Jackal. Doesn't know he's there. That evader finding a second as Some gets one, and now it's a 1v2. Some, we've seen him being able to pull off these huge plays, pull off these 1vx positions. And one of them's a Cali, so if you can break down that distance, you're in for, you could actually get a lot of potential out there. But the SMG secondary, that's going to be a huge lynch key, a huge stick in the mud. But most importantly, these drones coming out. Some has to just play and hold this long angle and beg he's able to find the shot, but he is unable to get it as we see that evader cross over. They pick up the diffuser, getting ready for that plant spot until we'll be able to do it. The plant, I'm pretty sure, hiding her head just enough.
Attackers
Will go
activated.
for push. He knows that he has to. He knows he has to try and get it. Oh! Just shooting above tilt there, unable to find that kill. He's going for that evader, but he's run out of ammo. And USF have another round.
That was so close for the side of Minnesota. I think that the castle somehow somehow missing that shot costed them that round. Some who is it who's playing that angle? Was some Diggum, who's playing that angle. That is exactly the perfect angle that I want to see players playing from. That my angle, playing from either closet or master bedroom, such a crucial position. It allows you to deny any push into master with a Wamai or another player holding down castle, holding down that area in the closet with the shield as well as multiple ADSs. Uh, on the side of USF, they don't have enough utility to deal with that operator. They don't even have any frags. You're never going to be able to
Defenders,
force that
protect
player
your
out of
bombs from
position,
being
and
defused by
instead, you're
attackers.
going to have to go for the southern take. And a lot of the times we see rotating to another side, it nullifies the deployable shields that you have set up. But that is the beautiful position of that second shield in the doorway between master bedroom and I believe that is trophy. It allows you to have yourself basically a two-purpose shield. It allows you to hold it then in master bedroom once you pretty much force your opponents back from taking it,
10 seconds
and it
left.
allows you to hold that long angle from there to deny the
5
default
seconds to go.
positions in towards trophy, forcing your opponents to statuary. It's a great
Attackers are
map
moving out to
control
locate
hold
a
and
bomb
one
and
that
defuse it.
Minnesota were able to exploit until the very end of that round. It just happened to be that the rest of their site holds just crumbled around that route, not able to find that crucial kill on the flank, and Florida just winning their gunfights.
Yeah, and as we approach this part of the round, I think this is a crucial win for USF if they can find the win on this round. Obviously, I think it goes without saying, UMN, if they win this, it's match point. That's the round. That's essentially the game on the line. That's overtime guarantee that USF have to fight for. But if they pick this up, then they can just ride this momentum, like you were saying. And
Bomb
UMN,
located by
they have
attackers.
an even higher mental block. I know I talked about it, but USF, they are able to just bring it back as best as they can.
Yeah, momentum is on the side of USF, but we have not seen that really deter their opponents. University of Minnesota, they looked very strong in that previous take, and holding a bit of map control this time around. Ralph on the first floor, he'll need to do more. He'll need to find more of those plays, and I like the adaptation coming out from South Florida, bringing in that Twitch to deal with the multitude of electronic gadgets that the side of Minnesota will have in their favor. And once again, the Rome not able to do enough as Florida are just finding these kills.
Yeah, but wasting time. We're at the halfway point in the round here. Skipper still has the Hostro stairs, so that's a little something to rely on. Just going to help you out just that little bit more. But like you say, time ticks down. Something he's not even playing on the site, and at this point, that's kind of where you want your defenders to be, especially the Wamai, especially that orb which you are bringing. Yes, he's got a very tight angle. So do the attackers. They are watching you, and these magnets going out are only going to waste so much time. They are going to run out, as they have now. Oh, go for the peak. He is unable to find that kill. Substitute will drop down below. Let's find a Roma.
Bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Some dig into Bivington. Bivington able to find one kill onto Swiss Knife. Able to bring this down to a 3v4. Even the odds a little bit as Bivington gets another one. Now it's a 3v3. Now it's a game. Daddy Vader is downstairs.
Covered their diffuser.
Have to push together, but Tilt able to find something. Covering his teammate. He finds Bivington as well. Now it's down to Skipper. Now it's down to the alibi. He's stuck in the shield. He's gonna have to shut down this plant. The plant is over in the trophy.
Attackers
Skipper
are
free fire coming out. He's just able to dig up underneath it. I'm losing my mind, Al, as we go through this.
Yeah, Tilt playing in the previous rounds with the Cali with that secondary SPSMG9, nicknamed the Pocket F2. This time he will be upgrading to the F2 itself and making good work with that. It's just Skipper remaining. Win a 1v4 with the MX4 Storm. You can never count the player out, but the crossfires are there for the side of USF. They find one, but it is still in a 1v2.
Defenders
Skipper
have
does
located
have
the
the ability to go for this defuse, but Tilt playing from the external side. I believe that is a triple kill on the round. And Florida, they don't care about your strategy. They're just going to frag out, and Tilt going for these kills, enabling that fragging potential. They're not playing in the vein of their opponents. We saw them on the defensive side. They played to the strengths of their opponents. Now that they're on the attacking side, now they can step up these plays how they like them, how they like to dictate the tempo with their aggressive pushes. It's working out perfectly, and we haven't seen the side of Minnesota find a single round yet. They've been very close. They've brought it down to very close scenarios, and we've seen that their strategy has a decent effect. They just have not been winning their gunfights, and Florida has been pushing the envelope. They've been exploiting that. They've been forcing their opponents to take gunfights. And if Minnesota can avoid
Attackers
that,
need to
if they can
locate and
keep their
defuse
opponents
as
at
many
arm's
bombs as they
length,
can.
utilize their strategy to slow down their opponents, I think they stand a very good chance. That's what they did on Cafe, and it worked very well. This time, it's not working well. They're allowing USF to play with these aggressive gunfights, and if you play to the strengths of your opponents, you're not taking an even fight, and if you're taking even or uneven fights, you're just going to lose. You always want to take fights in your advantage, and Minnesota, they're not quite doing it.
But I think it's safe to say on the flip side that this is very much USF's
seconds
game.
remaining.
This is very much a different USF than what we saw on Cap. Really able to
5
step up,
seconds
get in, get the impact kills that they need, rather than fall flat in their face
Attackers
very
must
early
locate
on.
and defuse a bomb.
I really enjoy seeing this now, and it looks like, as like you said, now that USF are on attack, they can dictate the pace. They can dictate how they want to play it. UM and can't come to them. They just have to wait. And USF, they can kind of maneuver around. They can take the map control. They can manipulate the map control to their advantage for their gunplay to come in and shine. And that's what it does. Yet again, we're seeing this Valkyrie and the mirror flow. And Super Toothfin, he's already in. He finds one kill. He doesn't even care about you, Ralph. He is just going to get that kill and move around to Master Bedroom. They expect this extended hold. Don't just give it to him. He's able to find Sir Bivington too. They just don't. They don't have an answer for this Ash.
Bomb located by
Something
attackers.
happened.
Attackers have dropped
Something
the bomb
clicked.
diffuser.
The man
Attackers have
just,
recovered their diffuser.
I don't know what happened. He obviously, I think he didn't wake up this morning on the right side of the bed. He didn't eat his Wheaties. Something happened between the half time.
Drone activated.
He got that bowl of cereal out. He ate his Wheaties, and now he's on a tear. I
Attackers have
think
located a
pretty
bomb.
much all of his kills have come in the second half, and he's just been unstoppable. On the Ash, the R4C, it's a scary weapon, and it's even scarier when the person on the other side of it can use it correctly. And Super 2 Turn, he's been doing just that.
Yeah, and we are seeing now that plan is starting to go down. There's still 3 defenders on the board. It's halfway through the round. The smoke gas is going out. Some is able to find a kill, but the defuse is going down. Skipper finds one of his own as Snipe is able to get one too. But it's better. He spots one. He goes for the kill. He gets the down, but that's it.
Oh, Skipper!
That's gonna be match point. Skipper just able to find those kills. Spenner waiting for the smoke canister to go. Then able to find a kill onto the Ace, onto J, and UMN. Then they've just dropped 5 rounds, and the one they won has just put them onto match point.
Yeah, that's one of the issues that playing a very frag-heavy style does lend towards your opponents. If you don't have the same fragging potential, if your opponent steps up and matches you equally, then you don't have the strategy to fall back on. South Florida, they've been relying on some miraculous plays, and to this point, they've come out. Tilt on the Cali as well as the Twitch has been absolutely insane. Super 2 turn, going on double digits, a triple kill on that round, double kills, multi kills throughout this match has been ridiculous. That being said, you can't count your opponents out. Yes, they may be a more methodical and a strategic team, but they are also in the playoff bracket for a reason. Skipper finding a quad kill on the round, ridiculous coming out from them. And now on match point, it's much less of a daunting task than the previous match and previous areas of this map that we really expected them to see going down maybe 6-1. 6-2. They only have 2 rounds to pull back, but it is still staring down the barrel of match point, and if they make a single mistake, it's not just map point, it's series point for Minnesota.
Yeah, and and the swift
10
2-0
seconds
that
left
comes
before
out from
insertion.
Minnesota. They can get this. It can shut it out. Now USF have to pray for
5
that
seconds to
overtime.
go.
We talked about it. They need to go for overtime. And they need to win
Attackers'
overtime as
objective is
well.
to locate
You know,
a
they have to
bomb
play
and
the
defuse
perfect
it.
game
The
for
attacker's
not
bomb
2
diffuser
rounds,
has been dropped.
but for 4
Attackers
rounds.
recovered the bomb.
They need to play the perfect game. Then also going into theme park, which, like you said, is realistically going to favor UMN a little bit more with the strats. USF, they're relying on these more frag-heavy maps. Without a coastline, Villa's the best they're really going to get.
Yeah. I like this adaptation. It also just signals how afraid USF are of these drones. You look at how impactful Skipper was in the previous round, and they brought both a gridlock as well as a nomad, but they're not doing their due diligence. They're not droning their opponents out. And Skipper is just going on a tear. It doesn't matter that you've brought both the gridlock and the nomad. He's just going to shut you down. The MX4 Storm putting the perfect use. 14 and 6 so far on the game. Absolutely ridiculous. And he is not letting the rounds slip by. He doesn't want to go to theme park. He's going to break my heart. We're not going to see that map coming out. If it is his decision to be that, he just wants to end it right here and right now.
Yeah, but the round isn't over, and you can never really count out USF in that vein, because I mean, to be honest, we probably counted them out a little bit earlier, but now they're really making a comeback. They're saying, this is it. We're able to come back in. We are going to win this, and with the Gridlock on Nomad, they have the advantages of these flank-watching players. They can get that map control. They can still just about open up these lines of sight with Swiss Knife, but losing those
A
2
bomb
early
has been
players is going to
located.
make it very difficult. Now, though, time is going to tick down. They still have to find 5 players.
Bomb located
Yes,
by attackers.
these operators, they have the utility to do it, but the guns, they're not the best. Yeah, they're good, but it's not an R4C. It's not an M762, which you have in Zofia. You're going to be going up against these defenders, and they're just USF. They've stalled. They don't know what they really want to do. Swiss Knife is droning, and that's realistically it.
I'm changing mags!
Yeah. I was saying in the chat with some of our producers, USF, they're a really great team. They have the micro skills, and they play off of each other fairly well, and that's not something that you can bake into a team overnight. That being said, I think that having an analyst and a coach for them would make their life so much easier. They could rise to the top of the country. They have the mechanical skill there. They just need to have that comparative strategic skill, and that's something that we've seen from Minnesota. They're able to make that blend of mechanical and macro play. The micro and macro, the aim and brain, and they're balancing that out very well in a way that Florida aren't able to do so. And one of the things that we see teams struggle with when they are very
15
fragment
seconds
based,
remaining.
once they run into a very
Drop the bomb
strong
defuse.
team that is able to get their strategies, but also frag, they run into a brick wall, and unfortunately that looks like just what's happening.
Not really a brick wall so much, but actually a smoke gas canister. Spanner coming through. We'll finish it all off with that smoke. And yeah, like, I think you hit the nail on the head there. There's not really much else I could say for USF. They put up a really good performance. They put up a good showing of themselves. And you look at them and you can say, yeah, this is a team that can go really far. They just need that little bit extra that you were talking about. That coach, that analyst, all that. Just to really step things up and just get out there. But that's not going to be it. That's going to be it. Well, that's not going to be it for them. However, that is going to be it for this best of 3. We do see University of Minnesota taking the win, taking CAF Dostoyevsky 7-3, and now 7-4. They take Villa.
Yeah, a great play coming out from both teams. We saw the advantages that South Florida have in that second match. They really came alive, and it was great. That being said, Minnesota, they looked like the stronger strategic team from front to back, and they really showed that. When things got rough, they held it together. They didn't let themselves crumble under the pressure. It was a great showing from both teams. We saw South Florida, despite going down 5-1 on a second map, staring down the barrel of series point nearly, they were able to bring it back. That's a great showing. That's a mental fortitude coming out from a team. That's what you need. They're not quite there just yet. They're approaching it. And one of the great things from them is that it's not over for them. Maybe in this tournament, but as a team. They still have more opportunities. They still have the ability to come back in winter and really show the improvement that they've been able to make. I really hope they stick with this roster, stick with their team, and really build that communication and fortitude, as well as picking up maybe a coach or some strategic player to really give them that strategic backbone. They able if they're able to do that, they'll be a veritable force. That being said, Minnesota, they just put on an absolute masterclass from back to front, and they look like an amazing team. And I'm excited to see how they do moving forward in this playoff bracket.
Yeah, but we are going to have a quick interview, and it's going to be with Spencer, the captain of that Minnesota team. How you doing, man?
Not too bad, not too bad at all.
Yeah, congratulations on the win. And I do want to talk first of all about Kav Dostoyevsky. When you're playing on there, yeah, you lost a round or two. What was it kind of feeling getting those early attack rounds on the board and saying, okay, we've got this. How do we going to move forward?
Well, we chose attack on that map, so I was pretty
Mm,
confident we could get the lead there. And I mean we performed really well on that.
yeah,
I mean we executed pretty well. I wasn't too flashy, pretty mechanical. Roam clear down, clear out the roamers, get a few picks, execute on site. We did it pretty solid.
yeah. Then I want to talk about, honestly, on the flip side, though, I do want to talk about Villa. When things
Ah,
started to go a little bit all right, yeah, no, you were able to get those early advantages of really good attack half. Then, as soon as you went onto the switch, then you saw USF start to wake up. What was kind of running through your head when that was taking place and what you had to do to bring it back?
we knew we just needed 2 maps. We kept saying, "Okay, we win 1, we're on match point." You
Hmm.
know, if we can win 1, we'll get in their heads a little. Match point is a lot different than 5. 6 is a lot different
Hmm.
than 5. So if we can get to 6, and we got there. That round was a little dicey. I mean, they got the plant
Yeah.
down. We retook pretty well. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say we got a little lucky, but I think luck played a part in that round, and that put us on match point. And then that last one
Yeah.
was just that was the defense we knew we had.
I mean, yeah, that's always a really good feeling going into it at the end and saying, okay, this is the last round. We need to get this win. We're gonna be done. We have got this in the bag. And I think getting those 2 early kills in the very start with your alibi, that was absolutely huge.
I can tell you right now, the mood switched like that. I mean, it was like, okay, guys, we got to do this. To let's go. We were hyped. And I think that, I mean, that really plays a part. Keeping like the strong mental really
Yeah.
helps you win those.
All right, well, that's gonna be it for the questions from me, Al. What about you?
Yeah, it was a great performance. I really like the strategic play. That being said, the stage is yours. Any shout outs that you'd like to give to the audience watching?
Well, definitely want to shout out my dad, who is trying to call me right now. He watched the whole game. He was a big support on that. Otherwise, no, I don't think there's any other one. I know I saw a couple of my friends in chat, but they don't deserve it.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on. I hope you have a good rest of your night and good luck moving forward, mate. But that is going to be it from us here at Collegiate R6 for now, because I do believe we have a few more games later on, don't we, Al?
Yeah, we do. They're going to be exciting. I'll be excited to see those
Mm,
going live. But yeah, that's it for right now. Be back soon. It's been a pleasure casting with you, McCready.
it always is. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure not to go anywhere, and we'll see you later.
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so